Okay, we're at Built to Change, day 2, with Ayman Syed. He's the Chief Product Officer, and we're just media Q&A asking a few questions. So my colleague Fraser is going to kick off.
Yeah, may I ask some general questions, because I want to know more about the digital transformations, the situation to begin with in the Asia Pacific region to compare with the whole world. And the second question is that what are the challenges when they encounter and facing the digital transformation, and what do the enterprise do, and what should CA do to help them to go through the whole trip?
Absolutely. So as I mentioned earlier in the Built to Change Summit, businesses from different industries and industries domain, and also across geographies, anything from a smaller business to a large multinational global enterprise, are all racing and rapidly transforming their business. In this transformation, they're, in addition to the old systems of record and back-end systems, they're building new digital systems of engagement. Think about value delivery of products and services to their customers through software applications, digital channel. And in that process, they're investing heavily in technology, not just for technology's sake, but as an integral part of their business strategy. As they embark on that transformation, there are many advantages of it, that drives business growth. On one hand, it gives you more global reach. So when we talk about Asia Pac and businesses there, they have every bit the need and the requirement for to rapidly digitally transform. And in addition to the scale and the global reach from go-to-market, it also gives you and affords you a greater degree of insights into how your consumers are experiencing your products, or how your customers, whether it's a B2B or a B2C, are experiencing your products. Now, a lot of businesses are global businesses that operate across multiple continents and on multiple geographies. And these digital engagement channels give you an edge, actually, both in reach, in the ability to customize the offering, and in the ability to rapidly respond to how your consumers are experiencing it.
And what are the challenges?
Of course, challenges, it means that having clear strategy and planning your investment, not just for requirements of today, but several years down the road and into the future. Acquiring the talent and the needed talent is one of the top challenges that many companies are faced with as they digitize and as they digitally transform. That's why it's a big area of focus for us at CA, to focus on the areas of predictive analytics, machine learning, and their applicability in AIs, so that we can automate everything that can be automated. Not just in software development, software test, software release, but automating business processes. We're not graduating enough software engineers worldwide, and the number of software engineers employed by non-technology companies that are driving their digital businesses now exceeds those that are employed by technology companies. As such, we need to rely on technology to help us with this shortage in skilled workers.
So which industry are ahead?
You see many examples across the board. I see great investments in technology and rapid digital transformation in financial services, banking, insurance, in manufacturing, and in retail and media. Many examples of large customers that we've done business with here at CA for years. And when we walk into an EBC or an executive session with a customer, you see many new stakeholders from a customer that we've dealt with for years. Why does the line of business leader sit in a meeting about technology, about digital transformation? It's because they realize that this is a key imperative with their business, and that's what's gonna drive success and differentiation 3 years from now, 5 years from now. So I mentioned some of the challenges and issues to work around scarcity of skilled workers. Some of it is also cultural. You look at security. Security is a different concern now. And as I mentioned in my talk yesterday, it needs to shift from being a reactive attribute that you think about after fact as you're provisioning code into production, to being woven throughout the flow and the process from day one. Think about a bank for which technology is no longer just about back-end systems and applications running behind the firewall. It's now how they engage with their customers, whether it's a business, retail banking, or commercial. Think about the total capital of money. It's the operating capital of the bank is what we're talking about. Security becomes paramount. We've all heard about many of the more recent and highly publicized data breaches, and we know the costs this entailed for such business. Everywhere from Yahoo and how much it impacted their valuation as they were acquired by Verizon. And we haven't even scratched the surface. We don't know the full magnitude of the cost of a data breach like that to them. So many more examples like this. That's why we need to change how we look at security, how we look at automation, and how we embed intelligence throughout. Some of this change is about tools, around technology. A lot of it also is around culture, around process, and around blueprints. And this is where the modern software factory comes to life, because it's not just a matter of assembling a range of tools to drive this automation, but it's fundamentally changing how you approach the problem.
Security should have been a concern 20 years ago. Banks were they had money, they were digitizing. Why is it that now only the security has it's only because of the breaches, or have the software companies been complacent about it?
It's a good question, and I think the awareness of the importance of security and the need for shifting our thinking about how we approach cybersecurity in general is driven by the number of changes we see. And you see many changes across technology and the business landscape that mandate and add additional requirements for security as we look at it today. Changes in how the work is being organized and managed. We've come from planning long cycles of management, development, and producing applications to Agile, to DevOps, where the iteration time has been shortened. And if you're building, testing, and releasing software very frequently, you cannot afford to do that at the cost of security. So clearly, we need to move security and shift it left to make it part of the every aspect of the developed cycle. As an application or a service is being designed, not even coded, we need to start thinking about security right from the design phase. Other changes that have impact in that as well is the disappearance of the concept of a perimeter. It used to be you'd have a perimeter, those within it can be trusted, you erect a firewall around it, and you can protect your critical apps, mission critical apps and data from the outsiders. In modern economy and a digital environment and in an app economy, there are many players that come into a value chain that's reminiscent of the supply chain of yesteryear, and multiple companies and businesses get involved in producing value. Think about how many companies and businesses you touch and your data touch when you do a transaction through one of your mobile apps. In this environment, there is no firewall, and security becomes a function of identity, of access control and access management, and building a digital trust. All these changes are driving the awareness, the new requirement for security, and also obviously on the other hand, there is also government regulations, and different geos have this, different regions, GDPR, for example, is driving a lot of that. All these changes are coming together, driving more awareness and realization that security needs to be taken more seriously, proactively, and it needs to move from a reactive to a proactive measure. And when you combine this with having a frictionless customer experience and ensuring that you're doing it in a way that does not add hurdle that diminish the customer experience, then it becomes a competitive advantage, not just a measure you take to reduce exposure. Think payment security, fraud detection. It's an area that we all have to deal with every time you do a card not present transaction, the card issuer need to worry about fraud. If done right, you can do it in a pleasant, seamless, and frictionless manner that would not discourage customers. But if it becomes a burden and a lot of friction and adds friction to the transaction, you risk losing business. Our payment security and our offering and our risk analytics network, for example, when we built it, we did not only focus on the high probability of identifying risks, and it's been shown to reduce risks by over 25%, like revenue loss associated with fraud. But equally important for us to make sure is it's a seamless, frictionless offering. So we actually reduce in risk analytic networks. In the risk analytics network, we reduce the potential for fraud by over 35%, by 25%, while reducing the number of false positives by 35%. So you're not gonna get as many rejected transactions, you're not gonna get many nuisance fraud alerts, and we reduce the whole scan time of the transaction to less than 5 milliseconds. That is how you take a security measure and you make it a competitive advantage.
Follow-up question on the security. You see, on the other hand, there are players, government, state actors who are involved in breaching security alert. Do you think in such situation where they have the money, they have the manpower, and they have the intention to defraud, are the companies in a position to fight that?
It's a great question, and it's certainly a race. And the stakes are higher than they've ever been. The level of sophistication, the means, and the amount of investment that's being done in state and industrial sponsored espionage or hacking is certainly way beyond the sophistication and level of would-be intruders or potential intruders of 10 years ago. And as such, businesses need to evolve how they look at cybersecurity. The good news is technology is a huge enabler of this. Predictive analytics, machine learning, and being able to identify patterns and proactively detect potential for exposure or suspicious activity and automatically put policy in place to mitigate the risk is vital for dealing with the increased risk from intruders. Just applying manpower and persons to look at the patterns, identify them, they only take you so far, and you're competing with well-funded, organized set of would-be intruders. That's where you can use technology to your advantage. When we went and add threat analytics for PAM, or when we're embedding all of our machine learning and predictive analytics platform into all of our security portfolio and products, as we discussed yesterday, it's exactly to be able to change the balance and empower the business to make sure that they're set up for dealing with this increasing risk and exposure of breaches.
Are you finding that most of your customers, and presumably most of your new customers, really are coming at this fresh? They may have had strategies in place from years gone by, but they're not doing things in the more modern way that you're able. And so the question is, with these new customers, how many of them are pretty much taking on your entire product range to be able to attack this problem and solve it from all the different angles that you're able to provide? Or are you finding that people are, your customers are mainly taking certain elements of your products, and in that case, which are the most popular ones?
We see both. So clearly, I start from roles and responsibilities within the business. Clearly, the role of the chief security officer in the organization is still very key, and this is not going to go anywhere anytime soon. It's not going to go away anytime soon. It's here to stay. What we're seeing is, in addition to the original and traditional stakeholders in security, the chief security officer, the security group, is that security expanding to be the charter of every part of the organization. So whether you're an application developer, an application owner, you're a line of business, you're a support function, whether you're you all now have a stake and a role to play to make the offering secure. And as businesses are expanding the use of technology, building these new digital engagement systems, the sums of money being transacted, the amount of exposure and risk is much more significantly bigger. As such, they're making a focused and conscious investment in security, in democratizing the responsibility and the offering, and making sure that it's shared by every stakeholder in the organization. What goes with this as well is a focused security strategy and an investment in technology that enables them to be safer and more secure, and implementing it not just for today's business, but for the future. At CA, we have a pretty broad security portfolio that covers identity and access management, identity governance, payment security, privilege access management, application security, and all the building blocks and pieces that shifts the paradigm from DevOps to DevSecOps. With our portfolio, you're able to shift the security to make it a day one deliverable. It's part of the design, it's secure design, it's secure coding, it's you're building it into the app. We believe that customers will do very well using end-to-end products from CA, and our security portfolio has the breadth and the capability to address their problems. But we also realize that we live in a heterogeneous world, and many of our customers have already made significant investments in technology and have acquired tools and products from multiple vendors. This is why it's extremely important that our portfolio is open, has APIs, and integrates not just with different CA products, but with a wider ecosystem of products from open source as well as other third-party vendors. And this is sort of a strategic differentiation for CA, our ability to work and orchestrate across a heterogeneous ecosystem of vendors, of tools, our ability to integrate with tools from CA and from third party, and to holistically support workflows, including in security, sets us apart from most of our competition.
So we've got some questions from that will be translated into English.
So, a question. We are expanding the solution in Agile DevOps security. So which solution do you see that got most inquired by customers? Which one do you see that? Yeah.
So we see, like, we talk about the Modern Software Factory, which is our blueprints for digital transformation and how businesses modernize and evolve. It has 4 pillars, starting with starting with business agility, which has a heavy focus on agile management, in planning, in managing investments, in driving business initiatives, and ensuring that the work being done is reflected in business KPI and value creation for the business. The second pillar is around automation, which is at the heart of the DevOps play. How to automate everything that can be automated, from building applications, testing them, releasing them, operating them, while securing them, all the way into automating the business processes. And when you talk about automation, we're talking about intelligent automation. Removing and automating the mundane, removing the drudgery from the workload for skilled workers, and focusing them on doing the higher value items. And then we talk about both insights, the ability to harness data and get a handle on how your customers are experiencing your offering, and about security shifting left and being an integral part of every aspect of the process. As customers digitize and rapidly transform their business into new digital engagement systems, they have to deal with all of these 4. Now, all of that together forms the software development lifecycle, form the value creation stream, and you cannot have one leg of the stool without the others. So we find that they start with planning a business initiative. They want to tie it how to make sure that the right investment and work is being managed, into how to streamline the process of building, testing, releasing the apps. Then they very much need to be able to extract the insights to tell if their customer is having a good experience with them, and continually evolve the offering and make it better. And when it comes to securing it, there is no choice but to move security from being a gate for pre-production testing of an application to making it an integral part of every part of the application development process.
So one other question is, so being expanding solution to realize monosphere factory, what percentage do you think we completed the monosphere factory?
So the Modern Software Factory is a framework and a set of blueprints that drives the evolution as we move forward. I talked yesterday about changes we see today, changes in how the work is managed and organized, changes in how applications and services are being provisioned and offered, from on-premise to cloud, from private cloud to public cloud to hybrid and multi-cloud, changes in the targeted audience, increasingly shifting from employees to external customers and consumers, and changes also to the stakeholders, where as the business delivery and value delivery happens through software apps, the stakeholders are evolving from the CIO and the CISO into the line of business leaders as well, and the CEO. These are changes that happen in reality today, and businesses are transforming to deal with them. But the change is not stopping. It's only accelerating, and as we look forward further down the line, we see more fundamental and profound changes. Changes from planned systems into self-learning systems. Changes from planned to predictive. Changes from reacting to outages and outage management to outage prediction and outage avoidance. Shifts from managing projects, managing investments, and managing work to managing outcomes, managing products, and managing business return. And this, we're only starting. The change is accelerating. With all this change, it's hard to say we're done and we've digitally transformed. So it's a continuous evolution, and you have to reinvent your business, and it's disrupt or be disrupted, transform or risk becoming obsolete.
I'd like to ask a question about India. What do you think of your people in India, the ability to develop and produce or innovate? Secondly, what do you think of the Indian market as such for your products?
We are very excited about India and the opportunity there. India has almost a third of the number of software engineers that graduate from universities come from India today, which is just about hitting third of number of engineers worldwide for a country with just under 20% of the world population. And we see an amazing bench of talent and depth and breadth of talent there. Within our development team and R&D team, we have significant presence in Hyderabad and in Bangalore. And a number of our products are come and developed there, both large scale type products with significant revenues for CA, as well as new incubations and new technology. We talked a lot about our analytics, predictive analytics platform, Jarvis. Jarvis is a significant portion of it is based in India, Bangalore team. We have entire businesses such as the payment security business, the risk analytics network that were developed and evolved from our India operations. As a market, we see also a great deal of potential. The Indian economy has been doing very well. The country is rapidly transforming as a country, and we continue to see both a higher level of awareness than there used to be and greater opportunity for doing business.
So what's the biggest mistake that companies are still making? Is it simply not implementing all of the things you've been talking about, given the fact that there's no single leg, they're all important parts of the program? Is it the fact that people are still ignoring putting security at the base? I mean, you must see breaches, you must see what other companies are doing, you think, oh, if only they were using our products and services, they would be avoiding some of these.
So I would say the biggest pitfall is not moving fast enough, not moving aggressively enough worrying about disrupting yourself and allowing others to disrupt you. When it comes to the actual transformation journey, I would say one of the pitfalls is not realizing that it's not just about tools and technology, but it's very much a cultural transformation as well. It's not about just building and buying new security products, assets, but it's fundamentally shifting how you think about security and how you approach it. Who's responsible for it? When does it happen? And making sure that it's woven end to end throughout the enterprise cycle, the software development life cycle, and the business workflows. So it's don't afraid to be taking risk, take them sooner, and you need to disrupt yourself and disrupt your kind of model. Focus in addition in technology investment in a cultural transformation and embrace a change. That's why this whole summit is called Built to Change. It's a new muscle and capabilities that every enterprise need to adopt and get comfortable with.
Yeah, would you mind giving some points for sum up with the what should the business or enterprises should do under this digital transformation era? And can you sum up with some points and highlight some points on it?
We were almost out of time, but
yeah, maybe in simply sentences.
So it's number one. I mean, focus on customer experience, leverage technology to harness insights, so that you know how your customers are experiencing your offering, and so that you're continuously able to improve it. Drive for agility, not just agility in software development, but business agility. Being able to rapidly iterate and respond to changes in market needs, whether it's a technology change or a business model change. And above all, it's putting your customer at the heart of everything you do. Modern technologies such as machine learning, predictive analytics, offers a chance to fundamentally transform how we approach certain business problems, how to automate the mundane, how to free up our skilled resources and workforce into dealing with higher value items. Embracing this change and not fearing it is the biggest success factor in digital transformation.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, folks. Thank you.